Yes, yes, yes. Welcome to the 30. This is Patrick once again on this Thursday. I welcome you. And today, as we celebrate Black History Month, I have a young man that we're going to talk to in terms of transparency. It's my godson, and we're going to talk to him about his ventures, his adventures, on his journey. We are talking about Chyron, and we're going to get it started. Let's get this party started right now. Welcome to the 30 once again. This is your host, Patrick. If this is your first time viewing the 30, I want to welcome you into the 30. Make sure that you like and share this broadcast with someone else. Whether you're viewing us live on Facebook, on YouTube, we want to thank you for continuing to support the 30. Very special day, very special month as we celebrate Black History Month. Again, I want to thank you. We focus primarily on entrepreneurship, small business, leadership, and those that are doing good things, positive things in the community and beyond. So thank you once again. I am going to introduce to you a young man. Actually, I'm going to let him introduce himself. So without further ado, let's bring Chyron in. Chyron, how are you?
Good, Uncle Patrick. How you doing?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you for joining us on this cold Thursday. I am sure it is colder where you are. Let's
in the negatives.
It's in the negatives. Tell our viewers who you are, Chyron, and what you do and where you are currently right now.
Okay. Chyron Brown-Wallace, from Rochester, New York. I currently live in Burnsville, Minnesota, about 10 minutes away from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and it is negative out here. Very cold.
Like how cold is it there?
If I look at the weather app right now, I guarantee you it is probably, I can tell you 1 second. It is -2, feels like -13.
Wow. And that is Fahrenheit. That's not Celsius. That is Fahrenheit. Oh my gosh. So why would you move from Rochester to Minnesota? Tell us about your journey going from here to there.
I always wanted to get out in New York, and I think one motivation for me was seeing my little sister do it first. My little sister Cheyenne, she cheerleads for a gym called Top Gun down in Florida, which is probably one of the best gyms, or is the best gym in the nation for cheerleading. And I always used to tell her, "Go chase your dreams, go chase your dreams." And there was a lot of sacrifice in order to get her down there, in order to get her to do what she is doing now, which is exactly what she wanted to do. She set out to live out her dream, and she went down there and did it. And she's currently doing it to this day, cheerleading at national championships and different things like that. And she loves every moment of it. And so when I was at home, during the time I was at home, I got a phone call actually from a friend that I used to work with at St. Lawrence University. His name was Bob Davies, and he asked me if I wanted to get back into college coaching because I didn't really know what I wanted to do yet. And the call kind of came out of miraculous timing. And so he just said, and at first I was thinking about it. I was like, nah, that's not, I don't want to do that. And then something was just like, hey, just put the application in. And I put the application in, and I'm thankful I did. So.
Well, good. Well, congratulations. And of course, we're very proud of you because you're one of us, right? Now, let's go back and talk about your journey, Chyron. You weren't slated to play football initially, right?
Right.
And I think you kind of begged your mom to let you play. Let's talk from there and what you've accomplished up to this point.
Okay. So Rochester Rams. So we went to go play. I went to go try out for the Rochester Rams after we moved to Irondequoit. So I used to live in the city, and then we moved to Irondequoit, or East Irondequoit. I don't want anybody to be mistaken. But when we moved to East Irondequoit, I met my neighbor, and he played for Irondequoit Screaming Eagles, and he taught me the game of football. And I remember sitting there, and I saw the first football game I ever watched was watching Tom Brady win his first Super Bowl ring, believe it or not. And I was like, "What is this game?" It was amazing to me. And then I got to East Irondequoit. I met my neighbor, and he had the pads that all those guys on TV had, and I was like, "Oh, this is real." And so we used to play in his backyard a lot, and he taught me the game of football. So he tried to get me to play on his midget team for the Irondequoit Screaming Eagles, and my mom wasn't budging at all. So they tried to sign me up for the Rochester Rams one year. And when they tried to sign me up for the Rochester Rams, they told me I was too young to play with the older kids and then too heavy to play with the kids in my grade and my age level. And it broke my heart. And my dad talks about it to this day because it was one of the first days where you truly saw that I cared about something and it was taken away.
Sure.
And so I started playing football, modified football at East Irondequoit Middle School in 7th grade, and then kind of flourished from there. I remember the first day we had a conditioning session. I wanted to quit because I didn't know what conditioning was. And it making us run and everything. I'm like, what is all this running? Like, what are we doing? Like, this is not football. And I remember going to my mom's car and I cried and I was like, this is not what I wanted to do at all. And one of my coaches actually talked her down and was just like, I understand that your son is upset, but conditioning is always hard the first day. Give it about 2-3 days and then he'll be okay. And like a week later, I forgot that I cried that first practice ever that I had. So then moving on to varsity, I joined the varsity my sophomore year of high school, midway through my sophomore year. And it kind of went from there. Was undefeated. I had undefeated regular seasons through my varsity career, never lost a regular season game. And then we ended up winning Section 5 championship my senior year. So that was cool. One thing that really shaped me and changed my life, and I think that I do need to bring it up, is I did lose a friend during my time in high school. He was murdered, unfortunately, and it was tough on me. I was a sophomore in school at the time, or getting ready to go into my junior year, and I actually lost another friend who was in my mom's program. All within a year. It was crazy. And that was really life-changing because then it showed me that football was something more than just a game. And I never really, I didn't take it serious my sophomore, junior year, but when it came to senior year, there was a lot on the line. There was a lot of pain and there was somebody we were doing it for. So it gave me a different perspective. Now, when it came to going to college, I never really thought about playing college athletics or anything like that. The reason why I went to college is because I had to go to my mom's program, and the goal was a college degree. That's always what you said. That was the words of the Upper Brown Creed. That's what they call it.
So you always set goals then, because this section is about going after your goals. So you've always had some goals.
Right.
The first one was in terms of winning that sectionals at Irondequoit. Then the next one was to go to college and get a degree.
Yep. And so my goal was always a college degree. Now, one thing that was beneficial is I got the chance to play the game that I love. And then going into senior year, there was a lot of recruitment letters from Ivy League schools and everything. And I also had a D1 opportunity that I lost, and because my SAT scores were too low. And I didn't think about it at the time. Of mom was always study for the test, study for the test, study for the test, and I'm just like, apparently I'm good, and D1 schools are looking at me, and like all these schools are looking at me, and I got good grades. The test is important, but to me it was, I did what I could, and I actually got a scholarship taken away because my grades were too low. And I had a lot of stuff to deal with height and everything too. I'm only 6 foot, looking for like 6'2", 6'3" guys. And so a lot of the odds were stacked against me.
Sure.
Which led to a lot of recruitment from D3 schools. And I had a my trainer, who was like kind of my mentor at the time, and I thank him every day of my life. His name is Jared Rhodes, and he told me, keep D3 schools open. Look at these D3 schools. He saw something in me that I didn't. I just saw all these schools not giving me an opportunity to show what I can showcase. And all these D3 schools came by, and then there was one time I met a guy named Coach Puck who recruited me. And I always told every coach, the only way you get in me is if you get my mom on board.
There you
That's
go.
that's the king, that's the queen of recruiting.
That's right.
And that's the only way you get me is if you get her on board. And he's one of the coaches that took it to heart completely. And I remember when we went up to St. Lawrence and I got there and I was like, I saw BMWs and stuff. I didn't grow up around BMWs and different things like that. So I was like, Mom, what are we doing here? I don't belong here. And she goes, just give it an opportunity. And then I did an interview. Apparently I knocked the interview out of the park. And after that, it kind of went from there. Now, St. Lawrence was at the bottom of my list when it came to recruiting. But then until I did the overnight and met some people there, that's when it rose to the top. And so during my time at St. Lawrence, the year before I got there, they went 0-10.
Oh, wow.
When I got there to when I graduated, we only lost 9 games in 4 years.
In 4 years.
Yeah, 9 games out of 41. So we went 32-9 and won 2 championships. So I was also a 3-time All-American during my college career, which was very surprising to me. It kind of came out, and just because one thing I always wanted to do was just prove everybody wrong that ever doubted me in my life. And before I knew it, I was popping up. My junior year, I was the only junior on the All-American first team list for Division III. And then my senior year, to be on that list again was a blessing, because that means I was a true All-American in my eyes. I was back-to-back All-American. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. So throughout that time, Chyron, did you have any goals throughout your 4 years? What were some of the goals that you wanted to accomplish during those 4 years?
During those 4 years, one goal was I always thought about doing psychology. I always wanted to be a crime scene investigator and different things like that. And then something changed. I failed my first exam in college, and you got to be resilient after that. And you're like,
exactly,
what am I doing wrong? And so I ended up double minoring in psychology and education.
Okay.
And then I majored in sociology. And the reason why I majored in sociology is because I found sociology classes very interesting. And I was getting 4.0s in them. So I was like, hey, you might as well just make the switch right here. But one thing that really drove me is I was meeting with my advisor one day, and I told her about what I wanted to do. And I said, hey, I want to double minor in psychology and education with a master's in sociology. And she's told me it was impossible due to being an athlete and my football schedule not going to make it work. And I wanted to prove her wrong, of course. And so I ended up graduating with my sociology major, and then I got my minors in psychology and education, as well as doing all of that while training for my pro day before I left school. So.
And you went back, and then you did your master's, right?
Yep.
So you did your bachelor's, you went back, and you were a grad coach.
Yep. So I was a graduate assistant. After all the football stuff fell through, my coach called me because I had a conversation with him before I left, and I wanted to get into coaching. I thought I wanted to get into coaching a little bit, and I was always helping volunteer at my old high school. During the summers when I went back, I was always at the scrimmages, coaching and everything like that. And so I talked to him, and I was like, hey, if you need a coach or anything like that, I'll be more than willing. And a coach actually got hired, picked up, and then left because they got a new job basically in a week. And he called me and said, were you serious about that coaching job? And I was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. So I ended up going back and getting my master's in education.
All right. That's awesome. Now, you had a goal of wanting to be in the league at some time, at one time. And we know that didn't work out for you in terms of playing, but we know that it is going to work out as far as coaching, right? So talk about that a little bit.
So actually, that you bring that up is funny because I when I was interviewing for this job, and this is when it really kind of came to me. I always thought about being a PR, personal relations, and different things like that, and just because I connect with people, and the reason why I coach, the reason why I do what I do is a lot of people coach to win and just move on to the next place.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, and watching my mom as I grew up, and her relationship that she had with her kids is I coach to change lives. It's different. And that's my goal in life. And every time I wake up is that's what I try to do is how are you going to change your life, you know? And my goal is to make somebody smile at least once a day, one person, because you just never know how that's going to change their perspective on anything if they're having a bad day or anything. Even if it's a little crack of a smile, like it's better just to know that there's somebody that cares about you and that's out there whose goal is to make you smile. And so when it came down to everything coaching wise, and I was interviewing for this job, and our athletic director, his name is GY. He asked me what was my end goal in life, and I told him on the phone interview, Uncle Patrick. I told him I don't know, and then I said, can I rephrase that question because I just lied to you and I want to be honest? And he goes, yeah, you can. And I said, because he asked me where I see myself in 5 years, and I said, my mom has always told me she's told me a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
She's always told me that I've always talked about having a Super Bowl ring.
Oh, wow.
Always, always, always. Since the first day I watched a football game, I always talked about getting the Super Bowl ring, whether it was stealing it off somebody's hand before I die, whether it was whatever it took to get a ring. And I realized that how much I like evaluating. How much when I'm watching the game, I can sit there and tell you can ask anybody really. I can sit there and tell you scheme or different things or why this player isn't as good as this player or different things like that. And it made me realize that I would kind of want to get into scouting. And as a recruiting coordinator, that's the job I got hired for here at Carleton, is as a recruiting coordinator. You evaluate and film every day. I'm currently evaluating film right now for our 2022s class that we're getting ready to reach out to and everything based on who we want to invite. And so I realized that part of that is really the job. When you go out to camps and everything, you're doing everything a scout does, and you get a chance to travel, go to different stadiums, and you're still part of the league. If your team goes to the Super Bowl, everybody that's working from management all the way through towel, water boy, all that, they all get rings too.
That's right.
So just getting a chance to be a part of that and getting a chance to also change somebody's life, because you never know. There could be that diamond in the rough that you find. For example, Patrick Mahomes, or whoever found him, he was a later draft pick, and next thing you know, he's kind of the best thing since sliced bread and butter. So that's the way I see it. And so that's my end goal, is hopefully to become either NFL scout or somewhere within the NFL realms and get a chance to get a Super Bowl ring.
I'm talking to Chyron Brown-Wallace, and he is currently the football assistant coach and recruiting coordinator at Carleton College in Minnesota, cold Minnesota.
Cool.
So if you have a question or comment for him, just kind of drop it in the chat, and we'll make sure that we bring it up here. So now, what exactly? So talk about your experience in Minnesota, especially when it comes to Black History Month, the cold in Minnesota, and the recruiting, because your recruiting goes from where? What's your area of recruiting?
My area is the Midwest. So, of course, the only area that I'm not completely familiar with, that's where I am. But the Midwest is cool. People, they call it Minnesota nice. And everybody's way friendlier than they are in New York, believe it or not. But you see the difference, because you think like an hour back is very, I guess, more relaxing. And everything on the East Coast is fast. Mm-hmm. And when you get the chance to sit back a little bit and realize or look around at what's going on, you realize that like the Midwest is a little bit slower than the East Coast, and you're like, wow, I actually got time to breathe and different things. The first time I noticed it is when we had a meeting. The meeting started at 9 o'clock. I got in the meeting at 8:55 because that's what you do on the East Coast, if you're earlier on time. And then they're like, we'll start this meeting at 9:05. And I'm like, 9:05? Like, what's going on here? And so it's just a little bit different. And Minneapolis is very quiet. I enjoy the city a lot, especially moving in here at a time that I did, Corona and everything like that. And so it's a quiet city. For a major city, it's very quiet. So St. Paul is cool too, but it's a little bit more old fashioned. So.
Okay. So what are some of the experiences that you've had in your young career as a coach, college coach, recruiter? What are some of the experiences that you've had that you can share with with the viewers, especially those that would like to follow in your shoes?
I think some experience that I've had is when it comes to coaching in general is the hardships of it. It's a lot of hours, and you're dedicating a lot of your life to it. But the one thing that always sticks with me, and it's kind of crazy because I grew up in a single parent household, and my dad's in my life for sure. But one thing that always sticks with me is we go to conventions every year, coaching convention, and they talk about there's all these different classes to help you become a better coach, Sure. And there was one coach, I cannot remember what his name was, but he was on the stage speaking in front of about 200-300 coaches. There's a bunch of us in there. And he talked about family. Mm-hmm. And you always think like when you're a coach, like all schools preach family because your family's in your locker room, right? That's how you become successful, is the bonds that you make in the locker room. But as a coach, it's a little bit different because you have your locker room family and then you have your family at home. And coaching is one of those jobs where divorce rates are pretty high. Probably, I believe, is about 50-60% of people who coach end up getting divorced. And he talked about one time where he was just trying to be the best coach that he could possibly be, and he forgot his wife's birthday. And I'm like, your wife's birthday? Whoa, like that's something that you don't want to forget,
Right.
But that's one thing that kind of stuck with me when it came to all this. Like, you could do I remember as a player, all the times that I used to spend working out and everything like that. And you can do a lot to try to be the best at the end of the day. Like I said, some coaches are about winning and some coaches are about changing lives, but it's about the impact that you leave on people. And that's what I'm trying to get to. What impacts can I leave on people? Because I want to be one of those coaches that when it comes down to it, about 10 years from now, 15 years from now, I got a player calling me and say, hey, coach, remember that time this, or remember that time that, or remember when you told me this, or remember when you pushed me to do that. And so I've had a coach that did that for me. His name was Scott Vallone. And when I first met Coach Vallone, me and Coach Vallone butted heads all the time. And now it's to the day where sometimes I wonder if I never met Coach Vallone, what would I be? Yeah, as a person? Would I be average or would I be striving to be great? And so my boss right now says every day is an interview. That's what he says when you come into the office. Every day is an interview. And so how are you going to leave that impact when you come to work and different things like that? Every day is an interview. It's a new day. And so what are you going to do to leave that impact? And that's one thing I think about every time I wake up now.
Good. Well, your mom has a question for you here. I'm going to throw it up.
My mom does.
How was your experience as a young African-American man in a predominantly white college and new job?
How was your experience as a young African-American man in a predominantly white college and now job? It is the best way to put it. It is an opportunity. It is an opportunity to learn kind of how to be successful, but also a chance to, like I said, change people's lives, change people's perspectives. Everybody grows up in different, when you come from different ethnicities, everybody grows up in different areas, they see different things. And my mom would know this. And one thing that she made ends meet.
Mhm.
She always used to make ends meet. She had to sacrifice a lot. And as much as she talks about me being humble, she'll be humble about that too. And but as a kid, seeing her go through that to make sure that we were okay, um, basically it showed me that that's a lifestyle that I never want to go back to. And so getting the chance to meet kids that come from different areas and getting a chance to tell them my story, and it's like sometimes I wonder all the time how did I end up here, you know?
Right.
But it taught me a lot. It taught me how to keep great credit. It taught me how to show up for a business meeting. It taught me how to be able to network with people. It gave me a lot of opportunities. And it didn't start at the college. It started when we moved to Eastridge. And so mom, for that example right there, it started when we moved to Eastridge because that's where the opportunities started to come. And then the more people that you impress, it's not about what you know, it's always about who you know. And so the more people that you branch out to and network with, those are the people who, at the long run, like a Bob Davies who helped me get here. Those are the people that are going to look out for you.
That's awesome. Well, I'll give you another piece of advice here, Chyron, because you and I talk from time to time, and we have some real talk, but it goes beyond who you know. The real piece is who knows you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because if you know them but they don't know you,
Mm-hmm.
it's a different story. So Bob knew you, so
Yeah.
he had confidence in you.
Right.
So that's another piece. So let's end. I'm gonna end. Any last comments, Chyron?
Now that I can truly think of, it's just one thing that I always think about before I go is, especially talking about my friend Javant,
Mhm.
is that um, everybody always asks you at the end of the day, like you asked me, like what my goals in life are and everything, and for anybody that's out there listening, um, understand this: life's going to come with challenges at all times. Okay, make sure that you tell the people that you know love you, or that you really care for, that you love them, because you never know when when that day is going to end, and people will help your life live on, because at the end of the day, when it's our time to go, we're all going to have a gravestone with 2 dates on it. And understand that it's not about your name or anything like that. It's about the memories that you share with those people that's going to make your name live on forever. And that's why I'm so focused on making sure that I change lives and different things like that. Is because the memories that you make with those people, that's what's going to live on forever. That's what's going to help your name live on forever.
That's awesome. Well, I am so very proud of you. I know your mom, the entire family is very proud of you. Just keep focused, keep doing what you're doing, and I know without a shadow of a doubt that you will have that Super Bowl ring.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it very much.
You will. So just keep focused, keep working, and keep positively impacting young lives. All right. I know that
All
you
right.
have to run off to practice now, so we'll catch up. Thank you again. Cindy Ray says, "What a fine young man. Wishing you all the best and everything."
Thank you, Sydney, very much. Or Cindy, sorry, Cindy Ray. I appreciate that.
All right, Chyron. And Cindy is is our sponsor for the 30.
Okay.
So want to thank you again, Chyron. All the best. We'll chat later. Okay.
All right. Mom, I love you. All right. Everybody in Rochester, you're watching. I'm doing okay. Love you all.
All right. We're just being talking with Chyron Brown-Wallace. What a awesome young man. I am partial to him. So of course. So this is the 30. I want to thank Cindy Ray and C Ray Thought Pops for the continued sponsorship of the 30. If you've been watching the 30, make sure that you let someone know that we're on every Thursday. You can watch it live, or you can watch it in replay on our YouTube channel. Just enter the Jackman Group LLC and you will see that there. Just a couple of announcements. Our Lunch and Learn is coming up on Tuesday, February 16th. That is from 12 to 1. Make sure that you click on the link. I'll put the link in the comments field. And this is for leaders, entrepreneurs, business professionals, actually professionals, small business persons or owners. So leaders, entrepreneurs, professionals, and small business owners. This is every other Tuesday. It's free, Lunch and Learn, and it's all about connection, inspiration, and development. So make sure that you reserve your seat for Tuesday. It's each and every Tuesday, each and every other Tuesday. Sorry. So the next one would be in March. Again, thanks to Cindy Ray, C Ray's Thought Pops, to get a hold of her. 972-862-0194 in reference to 30. So that's about it for now. Just want to thank you once again for your ongoing and continuous support. Until next time, remember, be safe, wash your hands, social distance, and wear a mask. Until, deuces. Love you guys. All right? Be blessed, and I hope that your family is blessed. We're out.